Hello, Feast of Faster. We are already at week 4. I cannot believe it. But I do have some more stuff that I need to share with you. We have to talk about detoxification and how Feast of Fast has been promoting healthy detoxification, whether you knew it or not. So we know that we've been working on metabolic flexibility and also how Feast of Fast helps with digestion and that digestive process. But it also has been helping with detoxification. And so I want to share a bit about that with you. First and foremost, we have been giving our body nutrients, nutrient-dense food by choosing real food carbohydrates most of the time, clean proteins, clean fats. And what this does is give our body the nutrients that it needs to detoxify. Our livers require a lot of nutrients for detoxification, and if it does not have those nutrients, it can't do its job properly. So that is huge, one thing that we've been doing here. And as a side note, the liver is a storehouse of nutrients. So when it gets nutrients, it also stores the nutrients for the detoxification process to use in detoxification. And it's one reason that eating liver is an amazing superfood because it is a storehouse of nutrients. Now, sometimes I'll hear, well, wait, if you're eating liver, isn't that gross and bad for you because it gets all those toxins? Well, the thing about the liver is it acts as a filter of toxins, but not as a sponge of toxins, okay? So it's not soaking up toxins, and you don't eat toxins when you eat liver. You eat nutrients. It is just a powerhouse of nutrients. So that's why I'm always asking you to give it a try. You may not like it the first time, but keep trying, keep preparing it in different ways and see if you like it. If you just can't go there, you can also take a supplement. I like the Vital Proteins desiccated liver capsules. They are a wonderful source of nutrients, and I've noticed it really gives me energy when I take those, so maybe that will get you to try it. So there's that. So we are just saturating our body with nutrients during Feast of Fast, which helps the detoxification process. Also, by being focused on these higher quality foods, we are taking a lot of the burden off of our livers. Because when we are just piling in the processed food and this pesticide-laden foods, we are just asking a lot of our liver, overburdening it, giving it way too much to do to be able to function efficiently. And so by choosing upgraded quality products, whether we're even talking about our heck yes, just by the fact that you're upgrading those and choosing a better option of those, every little bit helps, okay? It is the cumulative effect. When we think of our bodies and toxins and what our livers are dealing with, we have to think of this cumulative effect of the things that we are asking it to deal with, all right? So back to the pesticides. I hope that you have looked into the EWG's Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 lists. The Dirty Dozen list will tell you which fruits and vegetables are most important to buy organic. I know it's not in anybody's budget to buy everything organic, but there are certain produce that is more heavily sprayed, is more pesticide laden, and those are the ones we really need to focus on first. Like apples is on that list. My kids love apples, so I am very mindful about buying apples organic. It is a priority for me on that list. So that is another way that we are just kind of unconsciously paying attention, helping our livers, is just getting out some of those yucky things that our liver has to deal with. Finally, we are allowing plenty of time, ample time, for our bodies to detoxify. One, by just not eating all throughout the day. We are eating our good meals, we are satisfied, we have a nice little break between our meals, and so that our body can digest and get through a little bit detoxification time, just have a little time for that. But then our biggest chunk of detoxification time is while we are sleeping. So by the nature of cutting off our meal, our dinner, and then not eating again till breakfast, whenever that may be, we are giving our bodies an awesome time for detoxification. The body cannot detoxify properly while it's digesting. Digestion always takes priority, will come first. And so the more you're having to digest, the more detoxification time you're missing out on. So by the nature of eating our dinner, stopping, getting through digestion, and then allowing this prime time for detoxification while we are sleeping, we're getting through those processes much better. And I hope that you are sleeping better. You've noticed some better sleep through Feast to Fast and by giving your body what it needs and taking out some of that burden. It is while we were sleeping, while we're detoxifying, that the body is pulling toxins, from the system ready to expel in the morning. Our tissues are repairing. Our brain is kind of processing everything from the day and clearing out. Our hormones are regulating. Our nighttime hormones turn on. Our daytime hormones turn off. And we're just really kind of resetting our whole metabolic system. And that's why you hear, if you're not sleeping well, it is a major disruption to your metabolism and will really stop weight loss, but actually cause you to gain weight. It is a major stressor to the body. So we want to make sure that we're sleeping properly. But by the nature of all these processes that we're doing, we are really supporting detoxification. Now, I want to talk about the liver a little bit more because it is so important. It is the workhouse of our body. It is responsible for over 500 functions, okay? And so one thing I want to start by saying is that our body stores toxins in our fat cells, okay? It does that. And the reason it stores toxins in our fat cells is to keep the toxins away from our vital organs. Isn't that nice? It's the way we're made. It's the way God made us to protect us, to protect our organs. And so our fat holds our toxins. And if we are very toxic and if we continue to put toxins in our body will create more fat cells to hold the toxins. And so we don't want to do that. On the flip side of this, it's why it's dangerous to do some kind of diet that makes you lose weight really quickly, because you will release these toxins. And if you're not healthy to begin with and your liver is not detoxifying properly and you're releasing all these toxins that you cannot get out of your body, they will recirculate and you will be even more toxic. So it's one reason that we do want to embrace a lifestyle of eating that if you do require weight loss, it's steady and slow, but effective and long-term, okay? That's one thing. And also just so that our bodies can handle this toxic release, it can deal with it, and that we're also giving our system what it needs to deal with these toxins. Now, one very important thing that the liver does is release bile. Y'all probably sick to death of hearing about bile, but I just can't stop talking about it because it is so important for detoxification. Bile is released by the liver. It is stored in the gallbladder, and what it does is help break down our fats. It does a couple things. One major thing it does is help us break down our fats. It is a fat emulsifier. It breaks down the fats so that we can mobilize them in our body, and the body can use them as needed. Also, what bile does is help kind of gather up toxins and take them out of the body. And so we call our bile flow the river of toxins. And if you do not have sufficient bile flow, you will be more toxic. In fact, there is this quote I want to read you from this book. It says, there is already a 75% bile deficiency by the time allergies, arthritis, and inflammation in the joints and muscles develop. By the time cancer or chronic illness is diseased, a whopping 90% deficit has already occurred. And those are just a few things. But bile is so important for clearing those toxins out. And when we can't do that, we are going to be sick and toxic. So there has to be good bile flow. And so it's one reason that I always ask on my intake forms if your gallbladder has been taken out. Because although the liver will still release bile, kind of drips in the system, there's no storehouse for it. And when there's no storehouse for it, it's not the timing is kind of off. So when you eat fats and you need that bile to help break it down, when you don't have your gallbladder, it's like the timing is mismatched, okay? It's like it doesn't release at the right time. And so if you do not have a gallbladder, it can be really helpful, almost mandatory. Not for everybody. Some people don't find that they don't need this, but it's absolutely worth trying if you do not have a gallbladder. To try an ox bile supplement. For some people, it is an absolute game changer. It turns their life around. So if you don't have a gallbladder, that can be a huge, huge piece of your wellness. It's also one of the reasons, one of the most supplements that I recommend is the beta TCP, which is a fat emulsifier and helps that bile flow. It's one of my core 4. I always have it in my supplement cabinet. I will take it if I'm just feeling like if you're constipated, that would be another sign that you don't have good bile flow. And so I tend to be on the constipated side. I feel like people are kind of either diarrhea people or constipated people, but I've always been on the constipated side. And so if I'm feeling that, I will take one of those. I will take one always if I'm on vacation and know I'm gonna be eating more, eating a little bit out of my zone a little bit. And then also when you're drinking, it's a good one for liver support and making sure we're gonna take those toxins out appropriately. So that's one of my favorite supplements, one I always have on hand. So, okay, bile flow is absolutely critical. The liver is detoxifying everything. And so we do have to remember that everything that we put in our body, the liver has to deal with, okay? Whether it's coming in our mouth, on our skin, or through the air that we breathe. So it's why it's so important to choose high quality, clean sources of food, to choose clean products on your skin, to choose products that you use in your home that are clean and not, a lot of us associate a clean house with a strong chemical smells. You're like, oh no, my house is clean, but you're trapped inside with all these toxic chemicals that you're breathing. And so the body has to detoxify that. And so it is this cumulative effect of all the things that we ask of our body, of our liver to do every day that we have to be mindful of, and we want to support the liver so that we can detoxify. Another function of the liver that we, especially as women, want to be mindful of is that it conjugates excess hormones, excess estrogen. And so if the liver is compromised in some way and cannot be doing its job efficiently, it can't metabolize this excess estrogen. And so then we start having women's trouble, with our cycles. Everything from PMS to getting into menopause, everything's going to be thrown off if our liver is not working appropriately. And then finally, our liver is a major metabolic organ. And if your liver is not healthy, your metabolism is going to be totally thrown off. So the liver is a major player in blood sugar regulation. So remember, the liver is a storehouse for glucose. Which turns to glycogen. Once it's in the liver, we call it glycogen. That's the storage of glucose. And so we need that to be able to come in, the glucose to come in, and the glycogen to be able to go out for our body to use. And if the liver, that little gatekeeper of blood sugar, is not working right, we are going to have major blood sugar dysregulation. And at that point, our adrenals have to get involved in this stressful situation. And the more our adrenals have to get involved because of this, the more cortisol issues we have and the more potential we have to just kind of blow out our adrenals. And so you can see this cascade of issues that happen. So just overall, it is so important to support our detoxification processes. The thing is that God made our bodies to detoxify naturally. That is, we have all the built-in mechanisms to do that. We have the safeguarding mechanisms that the fat, holds onto the toxins. We have the mechanisms to move things out of the body, but we have to do our job for that. Everything's in place, but we have to support our body. And we are doing that here together, you guys. We are doing that by giving our body what it needs to do its job properly and taking off some of that burden where we can. So I just ask you to continue to be mindful of that. Your body will always need nutrients to do that. There will never be a time in your life that your body does not need sufficient nutrients to do its job. And so that is why it is so important for me to teach people a lifestyle of sustainable eating so that your body can be healthy in the long term. So we are supporting that together, and it makes me so happy. And that's really what I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to talk about another kind of detoxification type process in the next video. We're going to talk about autophagy. So I will see you there.